Hi guys, it's Kristy with Long Honeymoon. Today we are going to be doing something a little different. I don't do a lot of cooking segments, but today I'm going to share a recipe with you that is really special to me because it is my mother's famous cornbread. So Cherry's famous cornbread is what I'm going to make today, and anybody that eats my mom's cornbread raves about it. And I've only shared this recipe with a couple of people, and in fact actually called my mother 2 days ago and asked if I could share this recipe on our channel, and she said of course you can. So big thanks to my sweet mother, Cherry. We're gonna get to it. All right, so this is some good old-fashioned Southern cornbread, buttermilk cornbread. It's definitely not a health food, so don't go into this thinking that it is. This is a treat. Definitely not something you want to eat every day, but trust me, when you have it, you are going to want to make it when you're craving some really good comfort food that my mom has always cooked my whole life, and maybe your mom did too. Okay, so before we get started, let's go over what you're going to need to make this recipe work. Most importantly, you need a 10-inch cast iron skillet. This is what is going to make your cornbread perfect. And then I use a 2-quart saucepan to mix my cornmeal. Good old spoon, whatever you want to use is fine. You're going to need some vegetable oil, half a cup of self-rising flour. So it has to be self-rising flour. It can be hard to find. In fact, I could not find it in the town that we were in when I made this last week. And so I had to make my own self-rising flour. So you can just look up a recipe for that online. It's pretty much on every major cooking show. They teach you how to make your own self-rising flour. It's super easy. You just use baking powder and salt mixed in. And so I made my own. The other thing you need is self-rising cornmeal. So that's another thing that can be hard to find. I could not find it in the town we were in, so I had to make my own as well. So I just bought regular cornmeal. Cornmeal, not corn mix. Do not buy mix, buy cornmeal. And normally I use white cornmeal because that's what my mom uses, but again, I could not find that in the town we were in, so yellow had to do. And I made my own self-rising, so I mixed it myself. Again, you can just look up a recipe online and mix it yourself. Again, baking powder, salt, and I believe a little bit of self-rising flour in it as well. Some buttermilk and a little bit of water. All right, so first things first, I'm going to light my oven because I need my oven to be nice and hot. So, turn my pilot light on. I'm gonna get down in here. I'm gonna light my pilot light. There it goes. And then I'm gonna crank it up to about 400 degrees, okay? Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we are gonna pour some vegetable oil into our cast iron skillet. So we want it to coat the entire bottom of the skillet. So don't be shy. I told you this is not health food. All right, so you want it to cover the entire bottom of the skillet, right? So you want it to be maybe about 1/4 of an inch deep in the bottom of the skillet. Might need to have a little more, smidge more. Okay. This needs to get good and hot. So you can either, if you've got time, go ahead and put it in your oven and let it get hot in there, or you can actually heat it on your stovetop. So I'm gonna heat it on my stovetop so I can keep an eye on it while I'm mixing my cornmeal, okay? So I'm just gonna keep that sort of like on a medium heat there, and we're just gonna let that start getting hot. So while that's getting hot, we're gonna mix our cornmeal. So we are gonna take 1.5 cups of self-rising cornmeal. So again, I said I had to mix this myself because I couldn't find it in the store. If you're in a bigger city, you probably won't have a problem, but we were in a small town and this was all they had. So self-rising cornmeal, 1.5 cups. I'm gonna sort of mix this up a little bit. So this is 1 cup. And when my mom makes this, she actually doesn't measure anything. She just eyeballs it all. And a couple of years ago, I made her measure as she went so that I would be able to make it the way she makes it. So there's 1 cup, and then we're gonna put another 1/2 cup. All right, so that is 1½ cups of self-rising cornmeal. Now we are gonna add 1/2 cup of self-rising flour. And again, I had to mix this myself because where I was, I couldn't find any to buy. So, all right, 1/2 cup self-rising flour. So we're done with the measuring cups now. So we can put this stuff out of the way. And now comes the fun part where you get to eyeball it. So I've got my buttermilk here. This is low-fat cultured buttermilk. You don't have to use low-fat, but a lot of times that's the only thing some grocery stores sell. It's really up to you. We're just gonna pour in some buttermilk, and then we're gonna mix. And this is where the eyeballing portion comes in. We want this to be the consistency of like a thick pancake batter. So just pour and mix until it gets to the consistency you want it to be. So it usually takes me several pours. Make sure you get in those corners down there to get whatever meal is down there mixed in. I'm gonna add just a smidgen of water. Now let's mix this up. Add just a little bit more buttermilk. Let's see. Does anybody out there like to drink buttermilk? I like a little taste of it every now and then. It's kind of bitter and I don't know, I kind of like it. All right, so we are a good consistency now. It's a nice kind of thick, pourable batter. You can pour this. It's not so thick that it's sticking together. All right, I think my grease is good and hot over here. So I'm gonna turn that off. You can feel it, you can see it. You want it to be nice and hot. So this is the part that makes a lot of people cringe. A lot of people don't want to know what actually goes into some really good soul food because it's usually not the healthiest thing on the menu. And this is definitely not the healthiest thing on the menu. So just be prepared. I am actually going to pour some of this hot grease into this batter. We don't want to pour it all because we need to have a nice hot layer on the bottom of the pan. But we just want to pour off just enough to mix in here and get the batter nice and hot. So, are you ready? All right, so here we go. I'm pouring this hot grease in here. Ooh. All right, perfect. I still left plenty in the bottom there. And this was good and hot. Probably should have been a little bit hotter, honestly. But it'll be okay. We want it mixed in there. All right, I'm gonna put this back on this eye. Get it good and hot again before we pour our batter in. Okay, so we waited a couple minutes to let this get really hot. You can sort of see the oil sort of rippling in there. You don't want it to start smoking because that's when it's too hot. But it probably should have been a smidge hotter than it was when I poured what I did in here. But it'll be okay. As long as this is hot when we pour this in, that's all that matters because that is what's gonna give this the nice crispy crust on the outside that tastes so yummy. So I'm going to turn this heat off. This heat is on. We're good to go. I'm going to pour this in. This is a one-shot deal. So you're going to see it start to cook along the outside when I pour this in. You ready? Okay, here we go. All right. So that is what makes that crust so nice and crispy right there. So it's already cooking it before we've even put it in the oven. Now it's going to go in the oven and it is going to cook for about 30 minutes. But you want to keep checking it because everybody's oven is different. I would say about 10 minutes from now, check it. And once it's nice and browned over, then you know it's ready. So now we wait. So our 10-minute timer just went off. I'm going to take a peek at it and see what I think. Okay, it's looking good in there. You can see how it's sort of firmed up, but needs to cook for at least 10 more. So we'll set the timer again and come back in 10 minutes. Okay, so our 20-minute timer just went off. We're going to take a look and see what we think. It's looking good. Hang on, I'm going to pull it out so we can get a better look at it. It's looking really good. You can see the brown crust around the edge. I think I might go ahead and flip it, and then we'll put it back in for another 5 minutes or so and it should be ready. All right. So this is the hard part. I'm gonna try to flip it without breaking it. We'll see if I can do it. All right. Here we go. Woo! All right, so that is the nice crispy crust that you want. So we're gonna put it in for just a few more minutes and then it's gonna be ready. You're going to pull this out and it's ready. So total cook time today was 25 minutes. And like I said, it will vary depending on your personal oven. Ooh, it's falling apart in here. I probably cut it while it was a little too hot. But it will still taste mighty fine. All right, so we've let this cool down just a little bit. We're gonna try to cut one more piece and see if we can get a piece that stays intact. No promises though, because we are cooking this at a very high elevation, and we had a friend that mentioned that that might be what's changing the consistency of this a little bit. Okay, so we just cut that and we're gonna see if this stayed intact. And it did, yay, look at that. So that is a nice piping hot, fresh piece of my mother's famous cornbread. Now, of course, this will never be as good as when she makes it because she puts that secret mom ingredient in there that just always makes it taste better. But it'll be good enough until we can get back to Alabama and have some of hers. Until next time, I'm Kristy. This is Long Long Honeymoon. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, please do so. It means the world to us to have you join LOLOHO Nation. If you click the bell icon next to the subscribe button, You also will get a notification every time a new video goes live, so that way you will never miss a fresh episode of LOLOHO. Until next time, LOLOHO.
Hey guys, if you like our videos, a great way to say gracias, senor, is to visit our store on Amazon. You can go directly to amazon.com/shop/longlonghoneymoon, or you can go to longlonghoneymoon.com and click the large supply store icon on the main page. The icon is so large, I don't even need my eyeglasses to see it. In our store, you will find all sorts of cool stuff, including Long Long Honeymoon hoodies, Long Long Honeymoon t-shirts, my hat, my shoes, my old underwear, my self-respect. Everything must go. Proceeds from our Amazon store are reinvested into our show, which requires large amounts of duct tape and lubricant to keep running smoothly. Who let the flies out?
Should I share what goes on the cornbread?
Tell the truth.
All right. I'm gonna get it. Are you ready? Bum, bum, bum. If you come to my parents' house and you get cornbread, most of us will be putting mayonnaise on our cornbread.
Ew.
I know you think it's so disgusting, but if you try it, trust me, you will like it.
If I'm putting anything on it, I'm putting butter on it. That's just me. Let me tell you, grease is actually very healthy, guys. Chock full of vitamins and minerals. Good for your joints.